Hi everyone, my name is Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. For us here at Bridging, for us in the United States, I know the show goes all over the world. You know, we're coming in, as we do every year, to a holiday called Thanksgiving. And in America, it has a certain story, it has a certain tradition, it has to do with a certain history and all that. But like so many of the holidays all around the world, I mean, so often the root is one of appreciation, is one of gratefulness, is one of remembrance, recognition, thankfulness of so many glorious moments that we have and can have more of on planet Earth, on this beautiful globe that we all live on, and that we all live on really in a small way. I mean, I used to say on the show a lot that if we recognize that, you know, we were hurtling through space on a ball, I mean, literally, I mean, we get caught up in our day-to-day activities and where we live and how tall we are and sexual preferences and all that, but we're hurtling through space on a ball. And if we could just feel the magnificence and the vastness of that concept, and to see how many gifts we've been given on this planet and how blessed each one of us, even in the worst of conditions, to have this human life, to have this human breath, to have this opportunity, how thankful and grateful we can, and in essence we want to be. We want to be in recognition of what we are. What we are is compassion. What we are is gratefulness. What we are is courage. What we are is love. What we are is oneness. What we are is God, in a sense. When the masters, when Jesus, when Krishna, Buddha, Muhammad, when all the masters, Moses, whoever the masters, mistresses are on this planet, the angels and the archangels, and however you look at the people who have the experience, when they talk about, in essence, the Father and I are one, they've come into a recognition experience of a oneness, of a love so vast that, in essence, we're made of, and that we cannot, because it is everything, that nothing can be outside of that. And when we come to the days of Thanksgiving, when we come to the specified days of Thanksgiving, really, in essence, it's to remind us of what we are thankful for. And what we are thankful for is what we are thankful for every day. And every minute of every day in some way. So again, always the question is, how can we bring that into a reality? And, you know, throughout history there have been ways and teachers and methods and religions and stories and techniques and meditations and all. And in essence, the importance is not which one. The importance is to come home. Cross the river and then send the boat back. Cross the river of uncertainty, of fear, and come into the home of love. And then whatever boat you use, what difference? And for us at Bridging, I mean, we're seeing so many gifts and so many benefits and so many opportunities to spread that love. I mean, by the time people are watching this show and it gets out across the country and around the world, I mean, literally almost every Bridging show will be available on Google Video that anyone could watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere in the world. And for years we've been, you know, doing this show, and for years we've been sending out tapes to all the cities that want to carry the Bridging show, which now is upwards of over 150. But to have that, to have one of the grand corporations of this time say, we want to collaborate with this show about oneness, with this show about love, is the new paradigm. The bridge between heaven and earth is being built. And how fortunate we all are. How fortunate that all the incredible music and art and psychics and healers and authors and musicians that have come on the Bridging show are now going to be available to the world. And the consistent message of the infinite, the consistent message of the inclusive can now be available to anyone in countries where you don't have computers in every home. You could have it at the post office, you could have it at the Chamber of Commerce, and more around the world. There will be computers that will allow those messages to reach every home. And those kind of collaborations and those kind of interactions between the weak and the weary, in a sense, and the grand and the bold are coming into fruition, because we're all coming into a oneness and a recognition of that oneness. And we should be very grateful, and we should be very thankful to be part of a time when the old ways of fear and uncertainty and separation and craziness and division are really evolving, are bridging into a world of love and truth and connection and collaboration and creativity. And again, tonight's guest on Bridging has traveled a long distance to share their incredible vibration, their incredible story, their incredible paintings, their incredible sculpture, their incredible books with you, because that's what their life is about, is feeling love and sharing it, is to manifesting that inner love, that inner collaboration. Mary St. Marie is a mystic artist, she's a writer, she's a spiritual educator, she's a visionary, she's the author of 3 books, The Holy Spirit, The Nectar of Woman, and Messages from the Silence. And her art, which you'll see 2 extraordinary pieces and some pieces of sculpture that she's done, are mirrors of our oneness with the Creator as creation. And I'm sure she'll talk about how she came into that recognition. And we have 2 beautiful videos that some people have seen before, if you've seen the show, by Lessia, Enough God, No Happy Day. Lessia and I wrote them, and some of my favorite songs, I must say. And some, as I said, some extraordinary art by Mary. So let us be thankful, let us be creative, let us be together, let us be collaborative. Whatever we think is separating us doesn't, not really. Whatever we think our limitations are, don't. Whatever we think we are, we're more. So join me in a short meditation, then we'll have the first video, and then we'll have Mary with us. So again, it's an opportunity. So join me in a meditation. Thank you. So the first video you're going to see is Oh Happy Day, is written by myself and Lessia. It's on the Lessia Bridging Heaven and Earth CD. You know, it's about being grateful, it's about being thankful, it's about recognizing it's an Oh Happy Day, so enjoy.
Oh, happy day, no more painful walls divide us. Oh, happy day, it's a new millennium. Oh, happy day, with spirit that'll guide us. Oh, happy day, we can finally live as one. We've been lost in our illusions. We were brainwashed from the start. We've been captured by contradictions that confuse a gentle heart. We've been pieces of a puzzle with a picture so unclear. We could never make much sense of how to love or what to feel. But I believe we can do it. I think we stand a chance. It just takes a bit of knowing it's like learning how to dance. Since we are the world, we can change the world. Oh, happy day, see that kid out on the sidewalk. Oh, happy day, now he'll know that he is free. Oh, happy day, he'll never have to worry. Oh, happy day, what color he might be. When we thought we all were separate, well, it was easy to place the blame. We could label away the innocent, judge so many by the name. But when we all come together, things will be as they should be. It's time we all begin again to truly see what there is to see. And I believe we can do it. It's so easy when we try to feel the light between us and remember how to fly. Since we are the world, we can change the world. Oh, happy day, see that kid out on the playground. Oh, happy day, now she'll know that she is free. Oh, happy day, she'll never have to worry. Oh, happy day, what religion she might be. Oh, happy day, we're gonna build a new tomorrow. Oh, happy day, we surely know we can. Oh, happy day, we're not waiting any longer. Oh, happy day, it's all in the master plan. Since we are the world, we can change the world.
Hi, welcome back. So I might be biased, but I think Oh Happy Day, I really love that song. And, you know, if we can make it more part of our lives and remember Oh Happy Day, it would be really a beautiful thing for us. So we're here with Mary. Welcome. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Alan. I'm really happy to be here after all the time that we've talked about getting together.
It is amazing.
So here we are. We did it.
And then the synchronicity to how you finally came on
Exactly.
is really beautiful. So, I mean, we've talked for a long time, and really, I mean, you've been on fire. I mean, from the first time I spoke to you, I remember thinking, this woman's on fire. You know, you were writing poetry, you were doing this incredible art that we'll talk about, and this is one of Mary's pieces, by the way. And, you know, doing all these things and in all these places all over the planet. When did you, do you remember a certain time when you caught fire, or was it like, how did that happen for you?
Well, I'm an Aries, so I came in with the fire. I definitely have the fire. So that was in place. It was just knowing where to use the fire, not misusing the fire and letting the fire use me. And I would just say that at a certain point, I think it was 1971, I was teaching college English, and I was in a car crash. It was before I learned how to meditate, and so I definitely don't think we have to have our near-death experiences or disasters or diseases any longer to have these awakening experiences, but it was certainly the way that I did it. And at that point of the car crash, I was, at the instant of the impact, I was lifted into the soul realm and saw my life past, present, and future through the eyes of the joy of the soul. And I had already gone back to school and gotten my art degree at the University of Wisconsin while I was teaching English, and knowing I didn't want to be teaching English, so it was just a matter of time till something was the catalyst for me, and it just happened to be the car wreck. And so at that point I knew that I needed to create a transition so that I could ground what I had just experienced in the world. And, you know, there was just even the title, Bridging Heaven and Earth, is, we were talking about that earlier, and that bridging is the thing that teaches us that there is not a separation between heaven and earth, and the as within, as without, as above, as below is one and the same thing. And so how was I going to like do that? I appeared to have a great chasm at that particular time in my life, a gap between what I had just experienced, this vast joy, and the fact that I didn't like the career that I had chosen, and that it was not the right thing for my soul's expression. So I literally bought some art supplies and a second pair of jeans and a kelty pack, and went to Morocco, Southern Europe, Greece, Crete, across the Middle East.
Was this more of an artistic journey or spiritual?
Both. There was no separation between spiritual.
And so you were conscious of that at the time?
I was conscious of it. I mean, that particular wreck, just like I went, oh my gosh, I need to be expressing as an artist. There's no waiting anymore. And people said, well, it takes time. You can't just do this. So I actually bought a lot of frames while I was in Europe, had them sent back. I did my first show, my first art show in 1972 when I returned back from the Middle East and India and Kashmir.
So you were painting this whole time?
I was. Wow. Came back, did my first show, and I did really well financially in it. And so I went, okay, I'm not looking. This is
an indication.
This is it, and I'm not looking back. And I also was very, very aware, and I say this to all of the other potential artists and people that are like beginning, in, regardless of what their form, because we're all artists and we do know that, is that when you make a decision to do the new thing that's coming through and never look back, you're like propelled. I mean, I never once looked back. I mean, that was simply it. And I've done about 150 art shows, both here and in Europe. And one would just reveal itself, and the next one would reveal itself, and it just kept going over the years. And as that continued to happen, and I was doing a lot of meditation, I kept having this feeling that I wanted to sculpt, I wanted to write, I wanted to do multimedia, I wanted to dance. So I started adding in all of these things and really felt that it was like important to the planet that people realize that they could express their own experience of oneness in just endless, infinite ways, just unlimited ways. And so this began being my joy, just like, you know, I went through a phase of making huge amounts of jewelry. I've put it on clothing. I've done all kinds of sculpture. I just recently started the bronze sculpture. I at one point, because I painted, I drew, I did mixed media, I did printmaking, I merged all of the techniques. So it's multimedia, multi-technique, and multidimensional, all in the same piece. And that actually came together in a meditation. I had been looking at William Blake's illumined paintings, and he has some very, very rare paintings that most people haven't seen, and they were illumined textures. The textures were illumined, and to me, textures, because often people think of spiritual as like wings and etheric and flowing up here. For me, it's vroom in where all the textures are, and physical and earthy. And William Blake's textures had that. And so I just, in meditation, I just started opening to those techniques that were wanting to come through me, because I could feel them, I just didn't know what they were. And one day they just popped in. It was just like, there was no warning, there was just simply that I opened and I allowed in meditation, and I simply knew how to create these textures and merge all the medias and the techniques. And it was always a way, again, and we each have our own way, of course, of doing that, but when we have that experience of oneness, of unconditional love, of presence, regardless of whatever name we give to the wordless, nameless one, is that we let that come through. And when I paint, when I sculpt, when I write, if I light candles, if I become one with my pencil, my paper, my pen, my canvas, my clay, whatever I'm using, then I become a co-creator with the elements that I'm doing. So I don't see myself as, oh, I'm the artist and I'm using all these things. Like, we're a team, just like the team is in the TV station right now. It's like teamwork, only they're not like people, they're things. And so then the experience, and I also merge with the paint. And so as the paint goes on, it just starts communicating with me, and so I'm listening, and so I'm paying attention, and that same thing is true with the clay. So I'm always just having, I call it life is a living ceremony, not a ceremony in the way that one would think about a prescribed ritual, which prescribed rituals are fine, but I like spontaneous living ceremony where I never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, we call it love in motion.
Okay, I like that. So that's it. So that's, you just described, that's how I paint. And that's how I sculpt.
When I first saw you painting, I thinking, oh, there's love in motion again.
Okay, yeah. And I never consider when it's coming through, okay, if we are, and we are, the vessels for the infinite, for the wordless, nameless one, then as that flows through us, if you're doing a painting, whatever it is we're doing, you don't make mistakes. You simply notice if something didn't happen the way you wanted, and find out what it's really wanting to communicate. And through that, my art has continued to move and shift into new areas. It's alive, it is. And in fact, at one point in 1981, I studied for a while with a woman named Lao Russell, Walter Russell's wife, who he was already crossed over. Very, very beautiful beings, and she had said to me, Mary, everybody who does artwork, whatever they do, they can infuse their, when creator as creation, it's like we're just like the vehicle, the vessel through which it moves, that we literally can allow that totally to come through us and imbue it with soul. And so it's even more living even after we're done with it, not just as we're working with it, but after we're done with it, it can still communicate and speak. And so once these started coming through, I definitely noticed that I wasn't a decorator artist for, not that it doesn't go in living rooms and dining rooms and this kind of thing, because it has all over the world, but simply because they were pieces that spoke to people, and they would create whole areas of rooms around the art rather than buying the art after the other thing was purchased. And what they would say to me when they purchased the piece was they would begin to tell me their soul story, their awakening, their oneness experience, what was going on with them, and this would either reflect or mirror where they were at, or does, or it would be that thing that they're feeling is just about to pop in them. And so that was what was causing them. So it wasn't, so my art wasn't being kind of in the art world and you know, how many galleries can I get in? It was more about waiting, being quiet, making contact with the people who the piece came through for. And even if you speak to many mothers, they'll talk about their children. And I always remember Krishnamurti's words were, children come through you, not to you. And I felt the same way about artwork. It comes through us, not to us. Well, if it comes through you and not to you, then it must mean that it's a child going out in the world. So I always knew that each piece that I brought through already had a home the minute I started it. And so it was always me just staying open for the cues. I would get phone calls from people, and they would say, what are you doing? And I'm going, well, I'm painting, so I can't talk now. Could we talk this evening? And they'd go, well, could we just chat a minute? And I learned not to see it as a disturbance, because it was very easy as an artist to think, oh, I'm being interfered, you know, this is an interference, I shouldn't have answered the phone. But I started to learn that if I would answer and really stay present, that it was part of the whole painting, it was part of the entire thing. And not that it came overnight, that recognition, but after a while. And the people would say, and still do say, that's my painting. Let me know when it's done, tell me, call me, and I'd go, well, would you like me to take a photo of it and send it to you? And you can decide, no, that's my painting. And so many of my paintings sold in very non-traditional ways, just over the phone.
Have any of the paintings been for you? That no one is, they've called out to no one, but have been made to be around you?
I actually have a few from a period that they came through. I called them like whispers.
They were whispering to you?
They didn't whisper to me, but the paintings are very, they're very, you have to sit with them. They don't jump out at all. In fact, most of my paintings invite you in, which decorator art usually, it comes to you, it speaks to you, and that's wonderful because that's what you want decorator art to do. But mine is an invitation in, it's a meditation, it's an attunement, it's a recognition, it's an acknowledgement of a person seeing and feeling their true identity, their true self, and seeing it reflected through just the image that another person, you know, has done.
I mean, we're talking about it as if it doesn't have a vibration, but of course that's really what people are feeling.
Right.
you know, the energy of it.
Right. They have their own transmission. Exactly. So.
And so in this process of being on fire and exploding into all these things, I mean, poetry started coming out that went with the art and books, and then teaching. You started teaching how to have that experience and how to have more of it and how to be creative. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, actually, by 1988, I had so many friends around me calling me with their problems that I began teaching them just short little meditation things, or helping them through little things that were going on. And it finally, I had so many calls by the end of '88 that I had to decide that I wasn't going to help friends anymore, because then I couldn't make a living with my art. So I had to make a choice. So it goes back and forth. Sometimes I go through periods where I'm doing mostly art, or mostly sculpture, mostly writing, or mostly sessions, or mostly workshops. So, and so far there's been no pattern that I can pick up on, other than that I have to stay attuned to what's coming, what's appropriate. Well, what's coming in from the universe, and that's asking, oh, share here. Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean about being harmonious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that definitely is it. So the sessions started, and I just discovered that if I shared with them how to make contact with this presence, and once they made contact with it, which is it's more a shift of consciousness than it is a process or technique, and yes, there's talking to get there, but once a person has shifted and feels it, and then go into the silence, and then if they're ready, and go to the next level of realizing that they are that silence, that they are that consciousness, they are that awareness, a whole nother thing happens, because then all of a sudden this sense of what this body thing is here, okay, becomes a whole nother little, if I'm consciousness, then this body is simply the vehicle through which it's going, and it changes. Okay, most of humanity is caught in what I call a case of mistaken identity. So as many of us know, there's that identity with either the mind, the emotions, identifying with a spouse, with a career, even, I've had to, early on, I had to make sure that I didn't become identified, I am an artist, because once you do that, it starts solidifying into this whole other thing. And so it's making sure that one, every single day, once, twice, 3 times, however many times, is making contact with that and feeling it animating one. It animates us. It's where all the inspiration comes from. It's where all the fire comes from. And then all the passion comes from there. It's like this body itself is just simply the one that looks like it has it. But other than that, it's an animating force through it. And so sometimes I would be doing it by painting, and other times I'm doing it with sitting with somebody who doesn't get how to do it. And so the getting how to do it is simply a shift in consciousness. And what I try to share with people constantly is that when you decide to make contact with this presence, you have to be willing to let go of what your beliefs and concepts are about what will make you happy, because the mind simply can't figure it out. And the experiences that I've had on the inner plane have definitely shown me that I can't figure it out.
Maybe let's talk about that next. We'll do this next video.
Okay.
This is an interesting video in this context, because it's called Enough God. Isn't there enough God to go around? It was written by Lessia. It's on the Lessia Bridging Heaven and Earth CD. I mean, it really goes to what we've been talking about. So enough God. Enjoy.
nothing to it. They teach him how to load and fire for their holy land. They take a little boy, make him an angry man. But isn't there enough God to go around? Aren't there enough soldiers underground? Isn't there a bit of peace to be found? Isn't there enough God to go around? And on the other side sits a mother crying. Son is back, but not for long, 'cause he lies dying. Another faceless boy shot down for their holy land. Though she prays for him, she can't really understand. She says, isn't there enough God to go around? Aren't there enough soldiers underground? Isn't there a bit of peace to be found? Isn't there enough God to go around? People, they close their eyes, they don't see what they're doing. 'Cause they'll trade anything for the dreams that they're pursuing. They burn, they bomb, they bargain for their holy land. But nobody wins that way, nobody ever can. Tell me, isn't there enough God to go around? Aren't there enough soldiers underground? Isn't there a bit of peace to be found? Isn't there enough God to go around? Isn't there enough God to go around? Aren't there enough soldiers underground? Isn't there a bit of peace to be found? Isn't there enough God to go around? Isn't there enough God? Isn't there enough God? Isn't there enough God to go around? To go around? To go around? To go around?
Hi, welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed that video, Enough God. There certainly is enough God to go around. There's enough love to go around. It's just a question really of finding it. So we're back with Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Alan, thank you. That was
So
good.
actually we were getting talks from the audience that people wanted you to talk about the painting that was here and the painting that is here now. And
Okay.
There's another incredible painting by Mary. So maybe talk a little about, how the art manifested and why you picked these two pieces
Okay.
to bring to the show and all that.
Yes. This particular piece is called Behold She, and if everyone can see clearly enough, is that you can see that the figure in the foreground is a woman. The one in the background is meant to be archetypal male and female, and she appears to have a mask on that can be removed. If you removed the mask off of her, there would be nothing but galaxies and stars and moons, and just symbolically representing pure consciousness, pure infinite consciousness, pure awareness, pure just like the oneness. And that without the mask on, there's nobody there. And the truth is, there is nobody here. There's just the one manifest as the many. There is just consciousness manifesting. In fact, this describing that is where we left off the last time of talking about a case of mistaken identity, is if we learn to identify And this is what all that I'm doing with my paintings, my sculptures and writings and sessions and workshops is sharing that which I just described, that we are nothing but oneness. We are nothing but the consciousness of oneness.
We can't be. I mean, there's nothing else.
We can appear to be.
We can appear to be.
Yeah.
But the truth is that there is nothing else.
We can seem to be. And strangely enough, that seeming to be and that appearing to be is simply a thought. So many people talk about the outer world in different teachings being an illusion. The outer world is really totally here, and the illusion is the concept that creates the separation, which is, we're back to bridging heaven and earth foundation, it's the bridging that allows the dropping of the sense of separation. There really isn't even a separation. And so this particular image is showing that there is no separation. It is the consciousness manifest as form, in this case a man and a woman and the stars and the moon. So just light appearing as, that little word as becomes our bridge. So, you know, people can think of light around me, using the light, doing all these things with light. But the truth is, if we really let go, if we really allow, if we want to use the word surrender, that's fine too, then the light uses us. And then it's a whole different journey that we're each going through. And the last painting that was here, the same thing was there, only it was in a different part of the painting. There was a woman's figure here, and then there were stars over here, and there's a whole sense in my paintings where you can't tell whether the formless is becoming form, or form is becoming formless, or whether the invisible is becoming visible, or the visible is becoming invisible, because it really doesn't matter. The only reason to really entertain that is so that we don't get stuck on the visible or the formed world, and so that we can keep that other awareness totally alive in us, so that it can keep the flow going. And I think that when we appear to be stuck, or something appears to be going wrong, it's when a concept, at least I notice this for myself, if a concept pops up and I indulge in the concept, I got a problem again. You know, I've like jumped into this little world, and it really is just a concept. As soon as I breathe and come back, and when I breathe, I'm not even just talking about just like becoming aware of breath. I'm talking about breathing this omnipresent light, this unconditional love, and feeling it through every cell of my body. And thank goodness for all of us, for the quantum physicists right now, and many of the scientists and just regular physicists who have let us know that yes, you don't have to meditate and have an experience to find out you're an energy body. They explain it well enough that the mind, the human mind, can actually grasp it now, which is why there's such this huge global awakening going on, because like the human mind goes, you know, can kind of grab into it and go, whoa, we're just energy, woohoo, you know. So that's basically what a quantum physicist would explain in beautiful scientific terminology and languaging. I'm doing it with imagery, and I'm doing it in a way that I want to share the feeling of that. And breathing can do that. Seeing art can do that. Music can do that. So you know, there are various ways to have the experience. Probably as many as there are people. I don't know. That's what it appears like.
So we were talking at the break about, in a sense, being born again, not carrying identity, not carrying concepts. Mm-hmm. And how have you seen and within yourself is the best way to, you know, live in a world where tremendous, there's almost like a dedication to giving you an identity. Mm-hmm. And how do you live in a world where like you're Teflon to identity? It doesn't stick to you. You don't. You don't take in, you really experience yourself in love. I'm love in motion, I'm love in motion. I'm not an artist in motion,
Right. Well, I have to say that had I been born during the time that right now, I would have been called dyslexic. Then they didn't have the word. And I knew very young that I didn't know about right brain then either, and the whole left brain thing. But there was like no doubt that I'm like right brained. And not that I can't use my left brain, but that is there. What that gift did for me, because I see left brain as a gift, I see right brain as a gift, and I see the people that can use them both in a balanced way, that's a gift too. It's all depends on what our expressions are. And so the piece that you're addressing of staying there, okay, and again, each person has, I'm sure, their way of going in that. What works for me, and I can do this if I'm driving down the freeway in rush hour LA traffic, have done it many, many times, is when you're breathing this omnipresence, because we're only energy bodies, through every cell of your body, every cell is bathed in that light into the heart center, and then exhaling spherically, creating this huge auric field. There is this whole awareness that comes in, like the 5 books that I've written, many of them were written on, well, not in rush hour traffic, but on the highway where there isn't traffic around, because when you breathe in this way, your mind is engaged and entertained. Then it allows the divine mind, because that the human mind is just like these concepts rushing in to have little opinions. But divine mind, which is really the only mind, can drop in and do the animating and bring through where you're to go, who you're to contact, ideas that ideas you never ever imagined. Whoa, where'd that idea come from? Write it down, and don't just write it down, do it, trust it. And not even trust it. You don't even have to believe in it or trust it. It's when it comes through, you're so aware that it's yours to do, because you can feel it, because you've already really sensitized the body by feeling this presence, by feeling this energy. And so by feeling it, you've then opened up, and then divine mind can like drop in, and the truth is there is only the one, that oneness is only the one mind, the one heart, which is the unconditional love, the one body, all as, I like to call it, the illumined, it's like an illumined holographic kaleidoscope.
Oh, baby.
So,
you go, girl.
Okay, so you do a little movement, it's like in another person, you'll see them. And, it's why the sages said if one butterfly does a little wing, there's a hurricane or a cyclone on the other side of the world.
But energy, where does it stop?
And so if we are being animated and are aware of ourselves as being animated by this presence, we can be sure that we are automatically in harmony with everything else. And from that, what's happening is everybody, everything, every place that needs to reach us can reach us. We have opened all the doors of the infinite. We have touched the very substance of creation. Everybody's always trying to get money. Well, all those things we want and need, they can come in many, many different ways, not just through the vehicle of money. And so I just find that the more we stay, and you talked about this early in the show about the gratitude, that thankfulness is actually the law of, it's the universal law of increase. So when we touch this presence and then are grateful, not for what we're going to get, but for what is already ours, it begins to manifest. And everybody likes to call it miracles and magic. It isn't miracles and magic. It's just simply the way the universe works. We're just not used to it. And so, we go, whoa, a miracle happened. And it's really just, whoa, life. Life is living ceremony, just happened. And so the more that we can stay in this presence, the more we're just at one with divine mind, and we begin to recognize the difference between human concepts, opinions, and thoughts, beliefs, and these impulses. They're impulses. They're you know, just these rushes of energy. When you really get going with the breathing, when one gets really feeling the breathing, when these impulses come in, you don't just feel it like little hairs going up on your arm or a little rush of energy down the spine. You feel these full, I call them just the God rush, you know, all the way down to the tip of your toes. And you go, whoa, yeah, okay, that was big. And then you go ahead and follow through and do whatever it is. It takes away the mind from being engaged not only in human thoughts, but the minute that we leave that bridge that we've been talking about, is you have a sense of separation. The minute there's a sense of separation, boom, every kind of conceivable fear pops up. So staying engaged over here with the breath, dropping into the silence. Of course, driving down the freeway, you can't go into that next level of just like letting it all, you know, we have to stay focused and everything. But when we're in a quiet place, we can take that, we can listen into the silence even down a freeway, but that next level of really dropping away is something that we just do in a quieter moment where our body isn't like driving usually. And
not that we can't be in harmony. We obviously can
exactly,
be in harmony, right?
Exactly, totally in harmony. So that is my particular way. It's not like the only way, but it's the main way, and it comes easily. It's easy to engage in. I can do it while, if you're talking, I can just sit here and do it. I can even do it when I'm talking. It's not something that there has to be, you know, bells and candles and incense. Music and incense. All of those things are beautiful and they're nice.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Right.
And at the same time, we can do it in the books that I've read, whether it's somebody like Sri Aurobindo or whoever, they woke up in prison with just the worst of the worst, kind of criminally insane around them, and that's where they woke up. So which
is not a recommended method.
No,
all things
really.
all things can be chosen.
Exactly. Like, don't need to do it that way.
Let's not do it as traumatic as that if we can help it.
Exactly. So that's how I would, you know, describe that.
And you teach a lot of people, and you get calls from all over the world. I mean, are you seeing, like I talked about at the opening, you know, we're really seeing a new paradigm and a new collaborative energy and a new energy of openness and wanting to heal the heart. I mean, are you seeing that in all your play work, travels too? Absolutely, I'm seeing it everywhere. I just finished doing a workshop down in Silicon Valley, and no matter where I go and what people's backgrounds were, you know, I've worked with Catholic priests. I just worked not long ago with a Mormon priest. I've worked with street people. I've worked with homeless people. I've worked with just all kinds of people, and every one of them, it doesn't matter what their script is, what their mask is, what their, you know, deal is the signs of waking up are just huge. And this particular piece of art I chose to use on the front of my book called The Holy Site, because I do the Holy Site workshops. And I discovered about 25 years ago that if I would do Holy Site with another person, I had already learned how to do it with my art, with you know, the paints and the brushes and everything, so I began to do it with other people. And I'll use a very personal example here. My blood father was not only, he was in the Air Force and in the military, and was an alcoholic and was very violent, and I used to pray every night as a little girl that he die in a plane. It was a pretty horrendous thing to ask for, but it was just like, you know, my little thing of protecting my mom.
It wasn't until I was in my early 30s, when I had been really practicing the holy sight, that I realized that if I could do this with my dad, I could do it with anybody. Okay, so that was going to be like the next practice deal. So I would take time away from my artwork and just go, this is my artwork, okay, so this is it. And I began doing holy sight with my father. He began calling me for the first time in my life, telling me he loved me for the first time in my life, and just giving me endless presents that I had never been given presents ever in my life. And they were just, it was just coming fast and furiously, and I went, oh my gosh, I was like the enactor of all of that, and I perpetuated it and kept it going, all with my consciousness. And when I shifted, he shifted. He didn't shift for the other people in the family, he shifted for me.
Love is the answer.
The love is the answer. What can I say? There we go.
So again, we're coming to the end of the show. I mean, I hope you had the experience that I can see that Mary and I did. We're really blissed out. And you know, if you want any information, call Alan, 805-687-2053, 805-687-2053. Good night. God bless you. Thank you. Good night.